We've talked about radical generosity a little bit quite a while ago, and in our various meetings we've been talking about it, and the struggle and the growth that comes as we begin to try to enter into this. And Margie's going to share a little bit of her journey with us. So, and she's well qualified, having been our treasurer for 6 years. So, and you struggled even, huh?
I did.
Okay. Well, let me give you the microphone. Tell us about it.
Well, when the board began to revisit moving forward with a campaign to raise funds for a new church home, like many of you, I was not sure if this was the right time. But I wanted to remain open to God's guidance. And the board went through a prayer process. They held a town hall meeting, and then the decision was made to not only move forward with raising funds for a new church home, but also to retire our current debt. And after this decision was made, I knew I would still need to remain open to Spirit as we began what we're calling our adventure in faith. And as I contemplated my gift to what we're calling our legacy of love, I experienced the battle of my head and my heart. And the thinking, or the head part of me said, consider your income, your savings account, and the current economy. But in doing so, I was reminded just how much I have grown spiritually over the past few years because of our challenging times. And I have learned to not live in fear, to take one day at a time, and most importantly, to remember that God is my source. The easy part of the decision process was my heart. My love for Unity and all this church home means to me. I've seen it grow over the past 15 years, and I have personally experienced how living Unity principles can change lives. And I'm ready to take this next step to retire our debt and build a new church home. And building a new church home has been a dream of this congregation's for many years. But it has only been in the recent few years that affirmative steps have been taken to try and make that dream a reality. And like many of you, if it were in my means, I would donate the entire $1.5 million. But it wasn't. So I've had to struggle with what I could give. You went, doggone it, I know what I wish to. But I wasn't. So, I've had to struggle personally too to decide what I could give to help create our legacy of love. And as the internal battle waged, I tried to remember Jim's words, that we will not be the same people we are today after we complete this journey. And I'm ready to discover the new me, someone who's stronger in faith, willing to step out into the unknown, someone who is eager to stretch and embrace the challenge. I want to be able to look at our church financials and see a mortgage balance of 0. And I want to come up that drive and see a beautiful new sanctuary built on our beloved Peace Lake. And if I had listened initially to my head and stayed in my comfort zone, my gift might have been considered modest. But as my heart weighed in, I knew I wanted to try to do more with my gift to our legacy of love. I wanted to stretch myself. But I didn't know how much I could. So I turned to the generous giving chart as a guide, and my eyes fell on an amount that was greater than what I had been considering, but one that I thought just might be within my reach. And I thought, is this God's answer for my gift? Looking at it with my head, it was an amount that would be stretching me. And with the current economy, and us down to a one-income family, and not just having this money sitting in a savings account, of course the first thought was, how am I going to make this happen? So I tried to think about something that I could cut back on, but we live a pretty simple life. So then I tried to think of something I could sell, any assets, And I thought, well, we just have our small home, and selling my husband's fishing boat would probably be grounds for divorce. So I ruled that one out. But then I thought about my 401k. And I thought, well, I could cut back on my yearly contributions and use that money to pay my pledge. And this idea seemed doable. So I kind of breathed a sigh of relief and said, thank you, God, and committed the new pledge amount to myself. And you might think, end of story, but not quite. As a part of the adventure leadership team, I was asked to put my giving journey into words that could perhaps be shared with others. And as I began writing my story, I had this feeling that God just wasn't quite done with me yet. And before I was finished, a little voice had whispered to me more than once, trust your heart, you can do more. So, with the hope that our aging air conditioning system will make it a few more years, and a willingness to delay some of our bucket list trips, and my firm belief that God is my source, I have decided to experience the challenge of radical generosity, and I am now making a new commitment that is double the amount I first thought that I could give. So I am ready to start my adventure in faith. How about you?
Something else, didn't she?
Wow. And then I had to speak after her, and I couldn't even talk. And since I've heard it once before, I'm okay. I think I'll be able to continue the service. But thank you, Margie. She's just such an incredible example of the Unity way of life. She really is. Give her another hand, everyone.